The Supreme Court hears arguments in a case that could impact thousands of Oklahomans. Norman voters head to the polls and find out how long this bitter cold will stick around. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Grace Whitten.
And I'm Talon Forbis. Concerns voiced on campus last week now head to the Supreme Court.
This is my home. And this is your home. And this is our home.
OU students marched in support of DACA last Friday. It was one of hundreds of rallies held across the country. Now the Supreme Court is trying to decide whether the government can shut down the program. It allows those brought into the United States as undocumented immigrants when they were children to remain in the country. And the court heard arguments today from both sides, and OU Nightly's Beth Guevara was here as the large crowd of DACA recipients gathered outside the Supreme Court.
Somewhere in this crowd of still growing hundreds, maybe even thousands, Oklahomans are advocating for DACA. But one mother isn't worried about what deportation may mean for herself, but what it could mean for her American children.
If we end up in this situation, you might have to be the legal guardian of your sibling, a 19-year-old. And this is something that she's known since she was 17.
Another DACA recipient who protested last week in Oklahoma said he's worried about his family, but he doesn't have any children.
My parents have never been a part of the conversation, right? They're just like excluded as felons or victims of like their own systems.
The deportation of Oklahoma's almost 7,000 Dreamers could mean a loss of nearly $350 million to the Oklahoma economy, according to a 2017 study. But that doesn't matter to Angelica Villalobos.
We're not just numbers. At the end of the day, we're human beings, and I want them to see that and know that I'm present here today because I want them to see me, and I'm the face to that story.
Although she may no longer be able to live in the U.S., Villalobos made history as one of the first 5 video testimonies to ever be shown in front of the High Court. While the Supreme Court isn't making a decision today, Angelica and other Oklahomans' lives are still in limbo. Beth Guevara, Gaylord News.
Thank you, Beth. Back here at home, we are all recovering from a bitter cold start to the day.
Yeah, well, hopefully we find some relief or at least some warmth. Excuse me. Bradley Weaver joins us now for some insight on this weather.
If you're to look behind me, it might look like a warm and sunny day. There's not a cloud in the sky, but it is actually quite the contrary. Looking at our current temperatures across the state, we are actually in the 30s still. 34 degrees in Norman, 35 in Oklahoma City, a little bit cooler off towards the northwest, in the 20s in Miami. Now compared to yesterday, it was so windy yesterday, but today it is actually quite nice outside. We have winds out of the south at 2 miles an hour. Now coming up on Maine weather, we'll be talking about the warm up ahead, how long this cold is going to last, and we're also going to take another look at our weekend forecasts. But for now, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Bradley. Speaking of cold weather, it was a cold start to Election Day for voters. OU Nightly's Tatum Wilson tells us about the sales tax Norman residents are deciding on.
Public transportation in Norman rides on the decision of voters. The city of Norman is trying to fill a $2.2 million budget hole with a 1/8 cent sales tax.
With the Norman Forward initiative, people's sales tax dollars have built amazing libraries and pools and sports fields. But without a public transportation system, many of our residents can't get there.
Current sales tax levels wouldn't raise if the measure is approved because the 1/8 cent public transit tax wouldn't go into effect until April 1st of next year, the same time Cleveland County's current 1/4 cent sales tax expires.
It's just a unique opportunity and timing to invest in your community without technically paying anymore.
The city found themselves needing this additional funding after the University of Oklahoma stopped managing the city's bus routes last year.
While we understand it was a time of transition for both the city and the university, it did catch us off guard.
The city hired the bus company Embark to provide services. The total cost of the transit system is more than $5 million. More than 330,000 rides were provided last year, with about 320,000 of those rides being given to non-OU students. Tatum Wilson, OU Nightly.
Polls are open tonight until 7 p.m.
Oklahoma City voters are under a month away from voting on the new Maps 4 initiative. It includes 16 proposals that were passed in August by unanimous decision. Included in the project is a new entertainment district, which could include a new stadium and entertainment venue. It also includes updates and renovations to the Chesapeake and a package of NBA enhancements.
All of those things are on the table, and it's an exciting time in Oklahoma City where we get to kind of chart our course for the next decade.
The vote takes place December 10th.
An Oklahoma police officer faces murder charges tonight, accused of killing the chief of his department in an alcohol-fueled brawl. Michael Neely was arrested Monday and charged with killing Chief Lucky Miller. The men were colleagues and friends, and they were staying at the Hilton Hotel in Florida over the weekend for a conference where a physical altercation occurred. When deputies arrived, they found Chief Miller dead. The autopsy is underway. Miller was the police chief in Manford, Oklahoma.
The violence in Hong Kong is intensifying again today. Sinclaire Jacobs has a look at that and other national headlines from the News Center. Sinclaire.
Thanks, Talon. Hong Kong has been hit with another day of disturbance. Schools shut down today as protesters and officers faced off petrol bombs and tear gas. Hong Kong Chief Executive Carrie Lam believes the rioters are disrupting the city.
There's no question that escalating violence could get what the rioters want, not from the government, not from society at large, because violence will only lead to more violence.
More than 200 people have already been arrested. And the first two impeachment witnesses will testify together publicly. European and Eurasian Affairs Deputy Assistant Secretary George Kent and former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Bill Taylor have both given behind-the-door testimonies already. U.S. Representative Adam Schiff believes this public testimony will allow Americans to form their own opinions of the witnesses.
These open hearings will be an opportunity for the American people to evaluate the witnesses for themselves, to make their own determinations about the credibility of the witnesses.
The hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. In addition to the Supreme Court hearing arguments on DACA today, the court issued an important ruling on guns. A Sandy Hook Elementary survivor and relatives of victims can go forward with a lawsuit against Remington Arms. Remington manufactured the semi-automatic rifle used in the shooting. The suit claims Remington marketed rifles in a militaristic way and reinforced the image of a combat weapon. And late this afternoon, a federal court in Boston said warrantless searches of international travelers' electronic devices are unconstitutional. And Grace and Talon, the Disney Plus streaming service launched today. Many customers were unfortunately met by error messages accompanied by the app crashing. That's it from now. From the News Center, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Sinclaire. Asthma is a disease many people are familiar with, but we often forget that it can be deadly. We'll tell you how to best prevent fatal attacks next.
Plus, an Oklahoma business is trying to fight obesity. Stick around to find out what they're doing for the health of their community.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. Many parents have children with asthma. This might make them miss work due to school, due to doctor's appointments or even an ER visit.
But many might not realize how serious asthma is. Health Beat reporter Tevis Hillis joins us with more information.
Laurel Griggs was a rising young actress who suddenly lost her life due to a serious asthma disease. Laurel was just one of more than 26 Americans with asthma, including the 6 million children. Asthma and asthma attacks can be fatal if not treated properly. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 185 children and 3,379 adults have died due to asthma in 2017. This happens due to spasming, narrowing, and inflammation in the lungs. Once this happens, people will have difficulty breathing and your heart can stop. But doctors say that asthma-related deaths can usually be prevented with proper medication and an action plan. As we've discovered, Oklahoma is ranked 3rd in the nation for obesity. People are having a hard time eating healthy, and sometimes that's because cooking at home is a time challenge. I met a man who's working to help get fresh produce to everyone. Eli Dukes is the CEO and founder of a new business called Post Harvest. This is a business that delivers fresh fruits and vegetables right to your door year-round. Post Harvest has 3 options for box size and delivers seasonal fresh produce.
People just don't have time to make it out. And so we saw a huge market need, not only for farmers, but for customers to have access to healthy, fresh food. And not only to know that their food is going to be fresh and healthy, but also to know where it comes from.
This is just the beginning for this business. They see that the need is to create change in Oklahoma. If you are interested in getting a box for yourself, visit postharvestco.com. And back to you all at the desk.
Thank you, Tevis. If you find yourself leaving your wallet behind pretty often, just as I do, you'll want to stick around.
A new way of keeping your ID on you is being implemented in Oklahoma, and we'll tell you all about it next.
And Bradley Weber is here to give us more on the forecast. Bradley.
That's right, we're tracking how much longer this cold will last for you. I'll have more when we come back. Welcome back to OU Nightly. We're taking a live look outside right now. It might look sunny and not a cloud in the sky, but it is actually quite cold. We are currently sitting at 35 degrees. Compared to yesterday, look, there is absolutely no wind today. And compared to yesterday, we had quite a lot of wind, averaging almost to 30 miles an hour. Also quite dry too, having a dew point of 5 degrees. Looking at our current temperatures once again, we are sitting at 33 degrees in Norman, 35 in Oklahoma City. We are even colder up in Miami, being at 26 degrees and a little bit warmer in the Panhandle, 52 degrees in Guymon. Now compared to yesterday, just to tell you how cold yesterday was, we have warmed up by 9 degrees here in Norman, 9 degrees in Oklahoma City, and even 23 degrees up in Guymon. If that tells you how cold it was yesterday, then I don't know what else does. Looking through the rest of your night tonight, at 8 p.m. we'll be at 24 degrees. We're going to cool off just to 23 degrees. So if you're going to take that midnight run, it's going to be a little chilly for that. You're going to want to bundle up for that. Lows tonight are going to be in the 20s, 23 in Norman, 25 in Oklahoma City. But we have those winds out of the south that's going to keep us a little bit warmer tomorrow. So heading out, you're going to definitely need a jacket by 8 a.m., 27 degrees. But we will warm up to the upper 40s by 5 p.m. And our highs tomorrow, depending on where you are in the state, it could be quite different. In central Oklahoma, we're going to be in the upper 40s, 49 for Norman, a little cooler off towards the east. But then looking off towards the west, we're going to be even warmer. 65 degrees is going to be your high tomorrow in Guymon. Now the next 2 days are definitely looking a lot better than the last 2 days. 49 for tomorrow, 47 for Thursday, so it's going to be warmer and sunny, and then we're just going to warm up even more, especially into the weekend. Saturday looks like it's going to be a beautiful day at 56 degrees, and then as we get into Monday and into Tuesday, we're going to be warming up into the 60s. 65 degrees is going to be your high for your day on Tuesday. Now, when I was doing my live shot outside, it was so cold that I was trying not to chatter my teeth, so I'm really glad to be seeing these 60s in the forecast.
Yeah, me too.
I'm definitely not enjoying the cold weather, so I'm looking forward to those mid-50s during the weekend.
Oh, definitely me too.
Well, thank you, Bradley. You can now leave your wallet or purse at home because Oklahomans are able to carry their driver's license on their phone. OU Nightly's Adam Siebel reports on how that's going to work.
After months of beta testing with over 10,000 participants, the Oklahoma Mobile Driver's License app is now live and available to the public. All you need is an Oklahoma driver's license.
This is a legitimate ID issued by Department of Public Safety. So when someone says, hey, I want a real ID, it is a real ID.
Currently, the mobile driver's license is not Real ID compliant, but Ostro says that once the state becomes Real ID compliant, the mobile ID will update to compliance standards.
It's like there's no wait around government time in the state administration. We're working to fix issues in real time.
The mobile ID could also be used in a traffic stop or to get into bars. However, ultimately the decision to accept this ID is still up to vendors.
Now keep in mind that any bar can refuse service for any reason at any time. So if they think that it's not legit for whatever reason or think it's not you or whatever, they have all kind of reasons why they can reject you, but it is an acceptable form of ID.
Since its release, there have been almost 15,000 downloads with a goal of 100,000 downloads by February. But at what cost to taxpayers?
So far, it hasn't cost taxpayers 1 penny.
So next time you get pulled over, you can leave this at home as long as you have the digital ID app downloaded on your phone. I'm Adam Seibel. OU Nightly.
To download the free app, search Oklahoma Mobile ID on your device's app store.
OU men's basketball is on a 2-0 streak starting off the season.
And they play again tonight. Lucas Whitaker joins us to tell us more. Lucas?
That's right, guys. OU basketball looks for win number 3 tonight in a West Coast matchup, and OU volleyball is finally back in action. Ladies and gentlemen, put on your jersey on because sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly Sports. I'm Lucas Whitaker, and OU basketball tops the sports desk tonight as they'll compete in the Phil Knight Invitational. The Sooners head west to face Oregon State for a late night battle on the court. Both teams are undefeated, and we've got the game preview. Parker?
Hey, Lucas, it'll be a late night for anybody staying up to watch the Sooner men hit the hardwood with Oregon State. The game tips off at 10:30 Central Time out in Portland at the Phil Knight Invitational. A smooth 2-0 start has Davion Harmon and the Sooners riding high, but Harmon isn't about to let his guard down.
It's a big thing. You gotta set the tone early. You can't just flip on. You can't just flip on the switch. When you want to. This is college basketball. It's a big thing. Big games. No matter who you're playing.
Now this game tonight has big implications for the Sooners. Their next 2 games are virtual tune-ups against William & Mary and Maryland Eastern Shore. So a win tonight would all but assure the Sooners a 5-0 record when they head out west to visit Stanford on Thanksgiving week. Lucas?
Thank you, Parker. It's never happened before. OU men's golf will enter the spring season ranked number 1 after they closed out the fall season with a bang. The team finished the Kanapali Classic with a team best 263 in the closing round. The spring season can't get here soon enough and will begin in February. OU volleyball is back. The Sooners have played 2 games since November 2nd, a big opportunity to rest up and get ready to face Texas Tech tomorrow night at home. The Red Raiders are 14-11 on the season, but the team is on a 5-game losing streak. Oklahoma is 8-2 at home, and as Tech continues their fall, OU could be smelling blood for this matchup. The Thunder are back in action tonight against the Indiana Pacers. Coming off a close loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, OKC is looking to get a win on the road. A win seems likely since the Thunder have won 3 out of their past 4 matchups against the Pacers. However, Indiana has fired off 3 straight victories. But as the Thunder have done all season long, look for them to keep it close. Last night saw the end of Jimmy G and the 49ers' undefeated run as the Seattle Seahawks came to Levi's Stadium and pulled off a huge win. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks led by 11 heading into the 4th quarter, but the Niners rallied and knotted the score with a field goal at the end of regulation. The game ultimately came down to more field goals in the extra period, and this time a missed kick by the 49ers led to a game-winning kick by Jason Myers of the Seahawks. Seattle won 27-24, handing the Niners their first loss of the season. And you thought Dak Prescott dancing against the Vikings wasn't enough? Well, it's not just a quarterback warm-up anymore. Take a look at defensive end Nick Bosa. While he was warming up against the Seahawks, the big man might consider a move to quarterback after these moves. Why doesn't everyone else do this? You know, guys, this is a trend I fully endorse. If we could see more players dancing, we're never going to, you might find out who the best dancer in the NFL is.
Hey, that's true. They may find a new career that they may enjoy better, but.
Or maybe they'll get invited to Dancing with the Stars.
Never know. That's usually the next career after you're a professional athlete you take to the dance floor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Lucas.
Furry friends have been known to help ease stress and anxiety.
Yes, so stick around and we'll tell you where this adorable cat is offering her emotional support.
Welcome back. I'm Kayla Davis at the OU Nightly Update Desk. 2 OKC policemen are on administrative leave after responding to a deadly shooting and robbery in Yukon. Early this morning, police found the suspect and he opened fire on them. The officers returned fire, killing the suspect. An Oklahoma group looking to reduce prison population launched a petition today to stop prosecutors from using previous felony convictions to enhance sentences in nonviolent cases. People with such sentences will be able to petition the courts for relief, possibly releasing hundreds more inmates. Grace, back to you.
Thanks, Kayla. The Minneapolis airport has a new addition to the staff.
That's right. It's there to help ease the stress of traveling. This 13-pound cat named Stitches rides around in a stroller with a sign that says, "Pet me."
Stitches is a part of the therapy animal program at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport, which has the third largest program with 115 animals.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I ran into a cat at the airport, I definitely would feel at ease with my traveling.
I'm just glad it's 13 pounds
That's
because
true.
I only like fat cats. They're
Same
cuter.
here. Well, it looks like in this cold weather, that fat cat would definitely help, right, Bradley?
Exactly. I mean, if I had a cat tonight, I would for sure be snuggling with it because we're going to be in the 20s tonight for a low. But don't worry, if you're not that affectionate, we're going to be warming up into the 50s by the weekend and into the 60s by Monday and Tuesday.
Well, thank you, Bradley, and thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the University of Oklahoma campus.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.